Hey guys, Ben Labadie here, and I'm with Gordon Thomas from Chatham-Kent's Ward 6, and he's going to be telling us all about himself. You are live with Ben. Okay, and Gordon, tell us, what's going on? Where are you from? How did you get here and why you run? Let's throw it all at you.
All right, so I am born and raised in Toronto. I went away for school out to New Brunswick, spent some time out there. I met my wife in Ottawa. I moved to Ottawa to do a master's degree in political science at Carleton University. My wife is actually from Chatham. She was born here. Her family moved away when she was about 7. And after we got married, we were trying to figure out where we wanted to settle. Mm-hmm. And her family goes back quite a bit. They're francophones based out of Pancourt.
Right.
So we decided to move down, and
really?
I've been here now about 16 months.
Awesome. Well, welcome back, I guess. Hey guys, if you have questions, ask them. I don't know who you are. I didn't know who you were. We got in touch the other day to get you on here to make sure more people can find out who you are, what you're about. So again, you guys throw in some comments, ask questions about, ask him some questions, ask Gordon some questions, and hit that share button for us. So why do you want to run for council here?
So I think that since moving here, I've discovered that Chatham-Kent has a pretty unique geography, actually. We have got access to 2 of the best fishing spots in pretty much all of North America with Lake St. Clair and Lake Erie. We've got wonderful communities set around and lots of community spirit.
Right.
And I think that that's something that we can showcase and bring and attract more people to come settle in Chatham. So that's what I want to do. I want to help put Chatham on the map for other people like myself who are looking for a place to settle down, and they can come experience it just like I did.
Absolutely. Okay, so you're from Toronto.
Yeah.
Okay. What is what part of Toronto? Is it a busy area?
I'm from the East End, so I grew up in Scarborough.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Now, what is it? What's the #1 difference coming from Toronto and living in Chatham-Kent?
I would say this is a shocking difference from growing up in a city like Toronto to Chatham. People actually say hello. you pass by people in Toronto and it's like you're not even there. So you've got a huge population there, but people don't know each other. People don't get to know each other.
Right.
And for me here in Chatham, it's a community. That's the real difference.
Know your neighbors and learn who they are versus.
It's a city versus a community. So we're living in a community now, and.
Right.
I grew up in a city, basically.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. And you got a political science background.
I do. Yeah.
Now, what is that? How do you apply? Do you learn a lot about municipal politics and political science? What do you learn mostly?
So, municipal politics is not the #1 topic in political science. It's almost an afterthought. It's odd because when we live our lives, most of the things that affect us are municipal.
Right.
And there's just no interest in it, actually. When I was doing my master's degree, I worked as a teaching assistant, so I got to work with a lot of first and second year students, and the interest in the younger folks is international politics.
Right.
They go the exact opposite direction.
Yeah,
so.
It's more glamour. It's more out there.
Yeah.
It's more talked about. And you can see it just on social media. Somebody posted a little while ago. London Free Press had 1 in 3 people are possibly aware of municipal elections coming up. But everybody knows who Donald Trump and Justin Trudeau is and what they're doing, or what they're doing bad in their opinions. So because that's posted every day. And during the provincial elections, it was blasted everywhere from both sides. So you hear so much more about that. How can we get more people interested in learning more about their community and municipal politics?
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 31. I turned 32 in November.
All right. And how can we get people, basically, your age group almost, younger obviously, but your age group is still very young.
Mm-hmm. I think it's actually two-sided. So one side of it is getting people more engaged, and the other side of that is better decision-making on the municipality's behalf. by engaging with the very people that all the services that the municipality provides,
Right.
they get involved in that decision making. So one way to try and get them more engaged is to get them involved and see exactly how much municipal politics affects their lives.
Right.
So I think ultimately that's the way to do it.
Yeah, and anytime they want to go somewhere on a road or see a sign or have something lit up, that affects them. That's municipal politics. Right?
How many times have you heard someone complain about potholes or snow clearing or
garbage,
recycling.
Yeah, all that.
All of it. It's all municipal. So.
All right, Gordon, you're going to get hit with your hardest question today. All right, from Troy Labadie. Troy Labadie, a good name. Can you tell me your thoughts on the level of ambulance service in Chatham-Kent? Increasing response times to patients' houses, decreased registered nurses in the ER, resulting in ambulance offload delays. That is a big question.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to tackle it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And keep in mind, he'll also be able to type things in after as you get to more time to digest this. But go for it, my friend.
Absolutely. I think the first thing that we need to understand is exactly the demand that's getting placed on the system. So we know that decisions are being made completely disconnected from exactly what Troy is talking about here. So we've got ambulance who are being sent out to respond to somebody who's clearly calling in who needs some assistance. Mm-hmm. Those are the two people that are involved in that, and somebody somewhere else is making the decision that will tell how many ambulance are available at that time, how scheduling works, how much funds can be allocated to those resources that need to be there. I think the first thing that we need to do is get really clear on what is actually needed, and then understand where we're currently spending and allocating those resources to see if we're allocating them in the wrong place. I think that's, in my experience, that's typically been why we get into these situations where, longer response times means that, we're not prepared for those calls that are coming in. We don't have people in the right places, or we don't have enough staff when we need it. And I think the first step is to really get clear on exactly when we need the help and where we need it. And that's the first step that we need to take.
Good man. Hopefully that answers your question, Troy. Hey, Ryan Jackson. Derek Purdy, let's ask you, let's see here. People love water, whether being on a boat along the water or being in a park by the water. The Thames River travels through the heart of our community. We need a mandate. Oh, Jesus. We need a mandate for the municipality to purchase property along the river and build parks and trails to enhance our community as a viable health. I think that was not a question, but he just wants to share his opinion, and that's a good opinion. I like it.
I think that's definitely something that we need to look into. Like I mentioned right at the start, we have both Lake St. Clair and Lake Erie here. Exactly what you're saying here with the Thames River running straight through Chatham. That's an opportunity there. I'm not too sure exactly what the provincial restrictions are on handling development on that, if it's entirely in our power. But that is a conversation that we ought to have. It's here. It affects our community. It's one of the ways in which we can develop and attract people.
Cool. Hey guys, throw some hard questions at him. Let's see if we can stump him. Hey guys, Gordon is new. 16 months here.
16 months.
Okay, so you don't have a huge name, right?
Yeah.
So not everybody knows your name here.
No?
Yeah. Okay.
Not yet. Not yet. Yeah.
So if you want to do him a favor, hit the share button. Okay?
Absolutely.
Hit the share button for this guy to get him known a little bit, so people can get to know him and know his thoughts and knows how what his thinking process is. Okay, thoughts on the 401 Charing Cross overpass. Okay, so we have Charing Cross.
Yep.
There's no coming into Chatham there. What are your thoughts on possibly creating a turnoff there?
So I think if the way decisions seem to have been going in with past councils, is to increase tourism into the municipal center, which is right here in Chatham. That's where the largest population is.
Right.
We would need to have better access. I do think that that's important. From what I understand, however, is that we've approached that topic before and we've been hit with the bill totally
Yep.
On us. And that's something that we actually, I know the total cost of it sounds exorbitant. So it's, I can't remember what it was. It was
30 million.
Yeah, it was
pricey.
It was well over a dozen million, right?
Yeah.
So we need a clear idea of what economic benefits that's going to bring to us to see if that investment is worth it. I really think that it is a worthwhile project, and we shouldn't let the cost scare us if we're very clear on what that's actually going to bring into Chatham. So if we want to create a tourist center here, access to the tourist destination is pretty important. I mean, you know.
Awesome. So yeah, I like getting the perspective because you are new to Chatham, Kent, and so hearing those ideas. Let's talk about a sportsplex.
Yeah.
Okay. Most other communities have a sportsplex or multi-sportsplex. What do you think? Does Chatham Kent need something like that?
So I've actually looked into this quite a bit because this has been a question that's been asked over and over and over again. The sportsplex, I know Twin Pad Arena it has been looked at over and over again. I think that any thriving community has that kind of infrastructure in place. Mm-hmm. However, if we look into what's pretty typical when those facilities are built, we overestimate because we design a building that we want, not a building that we need.
Right.
And the vast majority of the upkeep costs. So right now the discussion is all about what are the upfront costs in building this facility. Mm-hmm. What actually affects the community most is what are the long-term costs, the operating costs in that, and those typically get borne by residents. So almost all of the costs of operating those kinds of facilities depend on residents within the community using that facility. We shouldn't overestimate how the type of building that we're going to build, mm-hmm. because what's going to happen is you're going to price out the people who want to use the actual facility. So if we build some grand project for the sake of building a grand project, and we price out Chatham Kent's residents, they're just going to go elsewhere because, for instance, I grew up playing competitive hockey, and in Toronto, ice was way too expensive. We used to drive way up north, sometimes all the way out to Barrie, to go practice. It was just so we got to be aware of what actual demand would be placed on that facility, mm-hmm. and budget accordingly.
Good stuff. Okay, councillors need to go to towns that have built their towns around the 401, such as Woodstock, and Woodstock grew, another person, Dwayne, Woodstock grew towards the 401, Chatham moving the other way pretty much. So yeah, a lot of communities have built, you know, their everything around the 401, and a lot of money, in my opinion, drives by Chatham Kent. You know, we have 65 kilometers of Chatham Kent, and it's the most boring 65 kilometers of the 401 because there's nothing there. There's nothing on the sides that they can spend their money on. So
there's a Chatham Kent sign. And you don't know where it is because you just see fields everywhere.
And then it's forever to get to Chatham.
I have heard that. I've had family come down, and when they come down to visit, they say the same thing because it's exactly like what Judy was mentioning. Chatham's building in the opposite direction, and I think council has a significant impact on that. That is partially related to zoning. Mm-hmm. And if we understood where we wanted to go, we had a clear vision of what we wanted to do, and we looked at our zoning bylaws with respect to that, we'd probably see a much better decision making.
Okay, we got Derek Riddy. I heard a figure of $6 million for the interchange, the cost of one wind turbine. Possibly. Hey guys, hit that share button for Gordon here, and we're going to talk about more stuff. We're going to talk about infrastructure, okay? So Chatham Kent is huge. Bridges, roads, signs, lights, I mean, everything you can think of. What can we do to, kind of keep things going? Because we're never going to, it feels like we never can catch up. Okay? What are your thoughts on infrastructure, and do you understand the whole area that well?
So, I've what I've been looking into is trying to understand how decisions get made in regards to infrastructure. I know a big issue for a lot of the people I've been talking to has been the bridge debacle.
Right.
And I think that a lot of that relates to us not understanding use of that infrastructure.
Right.
So we make estimates based off of building materials, time when it was made, weather conditions, but the number one factor that's going to affect infrastructure is actual use.
Right.
Which is why we're so far behind and we're reactive, because we don't actually understand how these bridges, roads, pipes, etc. are actually being used. So if we got a better picture of the life estimates on our infrastructure based on use, we'd be able to get ahead of all of these repairs. Instead, what we're doing is we're being reactive because we're waiting for them to start to fall apart or go into disrepair, and then we're responding to it. I think ultimately what we got to do is we got to get ahead. Maybe that requires commissioning a study on the use of our major infrastructure, so that we get an idea of what the actual use is on it, and I think that's how we get ahead.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Batting 1,000 here today, not getting stumped on anything. Let's say you with, so you're 31. How do we bring smart 31-year-old people here? Okay, you're from Toronto. Yeah. Let's use you as an example. How do we multiply you in our community?
So I think this is actually really important. Chatham has, we've got an aging population. Mm-hmm. We also have a negative population growth, meaning lots of people are leaving Chatham. And I think that ultimately that should be our number one concern right now. When it comes to funding infrastructure, when it comes to funding projects like a sportsplex,
right?
Municipalities require a solid tax base, and that's going to come through attracting families. So really the question is, what attracts families to come to Chatham-Kent? That's something that we need to actually get more knowledge on. We need to understand that better. For myself and my wife, we were looking for, my wife was from Chatham. We've got family down here. I have heard nothing but good things about Chatham, and that was what went into our decision to move down here. Mm-hmm. Lots of space, great community, lots of events, and better weather than most of the other places in Ontario. So,
well, we are the Florida of Canada, yeah. Pretty much. We are almost the southernmost area of Canada.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. I've been struggling with the heat. I gotta be honest, I'm not used to this heat. But I think that's how we attract more people. We just ask. We try to understand why people are leaving and what people are looking for in a community to settle in. And that's what we direct our policy towards. And I think if we get that in order, people will come, and where there's people, business starts up.
Awesome. Hey guys, if you like what you're hearing, hit that like button. I want to see what you guys are thinking. People say real estate prices are crazy. And as a realtor, I can tell you that real estate prices have been a little bit crazy. As you know, there's not many people selling. You know, drives up the prices of the rest of the real estate. Where you at there? Cheaper than Toronto.
Oh yeah.
Right.
When my wife and I first looked at the cost of housing in Chatham, cost of housing was better than everywhere else.
Yeah.
I think Chatham, it was slow to get hit by the boom in Toronto, and I think that that coupled with our tax rates, which are quite high in Chatham-Kent, I think are helping to drive that up. And on top of not being aware of, so I find that when there's demand on housing and you don't keep that land available for new development,
right, you're
going to get an increase in the cost of housing. That's something that the municipality needs to be aware of. We need to be aware of is demand going up? Because if demand's going up, we need to be able to keep ahead of that with, again, our zoning and our housing incentives, because we need more houses built. That's one way to keep prices down. And Toronto doesn't seem to be cooling down. it is growing in terms of people moving in
Right.
to Toronto, which means people are going to be finding housing everywhere else, and Chatham's starting to get hit by that too. And we just need to keep ahead of that.
How can we do affordable housing? And because the houses that are being built, they're in areas that, you know, they're $300,000, $400,000 homes. The average Chatham Kent wage is not $300,000 or $400,000. Okay, and then the taxes on those $300,000 and $400,000 homes are, you know, upwards $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, which doesn't go into the regular wage. How can we get more affordable housing for the more regular Chatham Kent jobs?
Yeah, I think in large part it's going to have to do with us, one, keeping on top of the price across the board. If we keep on top of it in terms of our bylaws, and the municipality, it keeps the housing situation in check across the board, it's going to keep the general cost down. And then in terms of increasing affordable spacing, like affordable housing spaces, we really need to work strongly with the province and the federal government. I really do think we need to engage them on issues where we need support. They have that support available to them. It's a matter of getting it, and I think that's where we start.
How can we better communicate with the other levels of government, all right, to get more for the community? A lot of times, you never hear our representatives anywhere. You know, I know they're working hard for us, but we don't get that splash or that flash that other communities have with their representatives. I'm not 100% sure on what will work perfectly. I do know that the way that the provinces do it at the federal level and internationally even is they put a member on location. So if we need to have somebody that's at Queen's Park working, understanding decisions that are being made there, and keeping us informed in those decisions that are being made, that might be a potential step. Getting more engaged and possibly having more, combined events with our MPP, so with Rick Nichols. That is one way to keep them connected to the community that they're serving. I think that really is on us, and one of the ways that we can do it independently of that is to have somebody there constantly keeping an eye on the decisions that are being made, because it doesn't help council to find out, months down the road, a decision that was made at Queen's Park or even in Ottawa that affects us here. We should know when it's happening so that we're not, again, being reactive. Absolutely. This is good stuff here. The humidity took me a couple years to adjust to, Judy says. Okay, Dwayne, I'm not asking, but I'm assuming you're a liberal. Dwayne, should candidates say their affiliation? I really like to stay away from this, but I actually think you're going to be able to answer this. Should candidates say their affiliation? You're getting hit with this one.
I think that, okay, so the partisan side of it, I think, is something that isn't in municipal politics. But the values that you have, I think, should be open there. And if I was going to state what I think are important, I'm for free markets. I'm for individual freedom. Like I am for legislation that promotes individual freedom and choice. And I support family values. So that if I answer the question, it would be more along the lines of what values do we hold as municipal candidates as opposed to party affiliation, because I don't really think that it really affects municipal candidates. The parties don't really get too involved with municipal candidates. So
awesome. I knew you'd be able to nail that one. Hey guys, hit the share button. Gordon doesn't have a huge network because you're new to the community. It's almost impossible to build over a period of time. But hey, hit that share button if you're liking what you're hearing, and ask him some questions. He's here to answer them, and we're hitting them with some hard ones. So business development. How do we get more business developing in Chatham Kent? How can we help the people that are already in business grow and expand?
So I think there's the typical way that we look at that, and that's in terms of tax incentives, sometimes zoning bylaws. We look at ways in which we can reduce regulations. I think that that's all true, but the other side of it is businesses have this resource, and we just call it labor.
Right.
People is the most important resource of business and industry, and businesses are aware of that. And the problem that I was mentioning earlier with having a negative population growth, it's unique. So we have fairly competitive incentives in the municipality. What we lose out on is we have a negative population growth. So we need to attract more people to the municipality. And if we attract more people to the municipality,
we're reading it at the same time, Dwayne.
So if we attract more people to the municipality, business that's here will be supported.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have competitive labor. You'll also have opportunities that will arise. So there are tons of opportunities that aren't currently being explored, and part of it's because we don't have enough population that will basically keep those businesses afloat. So I mean, I came from Ottawa, and in Ottawa there are tons of microbrews,
right.
Tons and tons of microbrews all over the place. People love it there, but they've got the population to support it, and they've got enough business that's there that people are out there, taking advantage of that. Sons of Kent is awesome. I love that place, and I think that's a clear example of if we get more people coming in, you're going to see more small businesses like that coming out, and it'll be great for the community.
Good stuff. And yeah, Dwayne, I'm thinking your LOL story was about asking the question, but actually the way he answered it, I might allow that question to go to everybody, because it was actually a good answer, the way he answered it. Okay, Derek Rudy, the population size of Chatham, Kent now reads approximately 102,000. The previous one said 113. Probably one of the only municipalities in all of Ontario that the population is decreasing at a rapid rate. If this is not a sign for current council to change, then what is? Again, I don't know if that's a question or whatever. Want to throw something at it?
I totally agree. I think that that is a number that we should very much be concerned about. Municipalities can't survive without people.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of crazy to think that we're not taking that more seriously.
Yep.
And our policies ought to be built around that problem, because I think that is the central problem facing Chatham.
Good stuff. Okay, Craig McNeil. Time for my man Craig.
Yeah.
He's the plastic guy. Okay. Do you support drinking municipal tap water? Do you buy bottled water? And if you buy bottled water, if so, why? And then any thoughts on possible bylaws to reduce single-use plastics in the community?
I am a huge fan of municipal water systems.
Good.
Toronto had great water, Ottawa had great water, and moving here, I can't tell you how happy I was that the water here is fantastic. My wife and I, we have reusable containers. We drink tap water. I totally support that. I think it's a great thing, and we ought to invest in it.
All right. Any thoughts on the possible bylaws to reduce single-use plastics?
Yeah. Depends. I mean, I really need to, like, I'm the type of guy who likes to get information. I'm not the type of person who wants to make decisions based on assumptions. I think actually that's been a problem that's been affecting us here in Chatham. We have all these assumptions and we make these decisions based on them instead of starting with, okay, well, what's actually going on? Let's talk to the actual people that this stuff affects. Yep. And I think that a bylaw to reduce single-use plastics might be in order. I'm not sure exactly how much we actually use in the community. I'm not really.
I don't know.
I'm not really clear. I'm not really certain.
I'm pretty sure if you put your email address, Craig will send you some details. I know we've eliminated plastic from here.
Absolutely.
Because of Craig. So Craig, you're doing your job on reducing it. You're pretty good job yourself by promoting that. Fiscal responsibility is my biggest concern. Do you think Chatham Kent has been fiscally responsible? I'm throwing that at you. And do you think there's always room for, there's always room for improvement, but what do you think?
Yeah, I think there's always room for improvement. I think that this actually goes back to what I was just mentioning I think that you can't really be fiscally responsible if you don't have clear knowledge on what you're actually making decisions about. So I think that we really need to start with understanding what the services are that we provide, how they're used, how they affect the people that actually use those services and infrastructure, and start from there, and then understand how well we're doing in terms of spending on it. Because my experience has been, when I've looked into it, that municipalities by and large don't have a good grasp on what the actual use is of the services that they provide. Oddly enough, I mean, if you look into it, lots of our decision making is based on these estimates that have nothing to do with use.
Right.
But services are used. So I think we should start there. I have a feeling that the answer to that question is no. I don't think we've been fiscally responsible, because I don't think we're clear on exactly what we ought to be spending our money on.
Awesome.
But yeah.
Good stuff here. Hey, don't be scared to ask this guy a question. I'm waiting for somebody to stump up. We've hit him with some hard ones. Sue Clark. Sue is part of my 6 a.m. walking group.
Oh,
you should be
fantastic.
running for mayor with the way you think about our problems here and how to fix them. So you got some fans. Now, what are you doing to campaign, all right, to get your name out there? Because it's going to be tougher for you than pretty much everybody else to get your name out there.
Yeah. So I'm not too sure about the other candidates. I work full time. I work actually over at Tech Savvy.
Okay.
And so I've got a little bit of time on the weekends and after work. And right now I've got actually, this is maybe a good time to show this. So segue into this. So I know that everybody had been bringing you gifts, Ben.
Yep.
And this was kind of quick. So I'm actually working with Rick over at Planet Print.
Okay.
So he did me a favor and he helped me out, and he got a gift here
Good
for you.
stuff.
So that's with your brand, and hopefully
With my brand.
hopefully
Hey,
you can
guys.
use that.
Live with Ben. And you know what? I can use it, because as you can see, well, you guys can't see here, but I have this big, pad that I use a marker on, and the marker's gone dead. And I've pulled out the pen, and I got one piece of paper here, but as you can see with my stuff I like to talk about. And then now this will help me.
Yeah,
Okay,
there
this
you
is
go.
actually, he's already making this easier for me in the municipality here of Chatham, Kent. Okay, hey guys, hit the share button. Ask some questions, hit them with some questions here. Hi, Patricia. Patricia was just on not too long ago. And if you guys want to go see more conversations with candidates, benlabadie.com. And also know that September 12th I'm doing a conversation roundtable. Okay, and the candidates, there's going to be 15 candidates. Are you going to show up to that event?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to show up. I know. Well, you.
Yeah. So basically, other candidates, there's going to be 15, and as well as other candidates that might show up that you can meet and greet after or during the break sessions. So it's all about how do we have better conversations and meet and get to know you. So
Yeah.
I'd suggest showing up to that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stepping up to help all citizens, and we are. Dwayne, we are. He is. Definitely a problem solver here, even. So,
I did want to say, just kind of in regards to that, so I do have a Facebook page.
Okay.
And you can find it at Vote Gordon Thomas.
Okay.
And I'm getting literature currently printed off. Rick's doing that for me over at Planet Print. And I'm going to be, as soon as I've got it in my hands, I'll be walking around door to door.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way
And
to do it.
he'll also be putting that down in the comment section as well. I've tagged him at the top, so you can just friend him as well.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
To get to know him. So if you do like what you're hearing, okay, and this is, I'm not promoting you, but if you do like what you're hearing, the best way to help candidates in whatever candidate you want to help is to make sure that you share their message and see what you can do to help them or her. There's a lot of candidates out there. So that's always a reminder that if you want to participate in helping people, you really got to help promote them. And so that goes for you too, for people that may like what they're hearing. What do you see as one of the greatest challenges Chatham Kent faces over the next 4 years?
I really do think it's the population question. So all of the issues that are going to be affecting Chatham-Kent and currently are affecting Chatham-Kent, I think they all stem back to a question of population. We need more people here. The municipality will be hamstrung in terms of what it's bringing in terms of a tax base without having more people here. So there are things that we can do with our current expenditures, but ultimately where we want to go, I think, requires us to deal with that. So we really do need to work on that. We need to see some kind of improvement in attracting people to Chatham-Kent. Retaining people who are here, but also attracting newcomers. I think that's really the number one issue.
Okay, what is the greatest opportunity
that we have?
Yeah, the greatest opportunity for Chatham-Kent and greatest opportunity for the single Ward 6.
Yeah, I think that so there's two sides to that. One is the greatest opportunity is to take better advantage of our geography, like we were chatting about earlier.
Yep.
Our geography is really unique. It's an interesting way that our municipality touches both major lakes. Not many municipalities do that.
Nope.
That is something we need to take more advantage of. It'll bring more people in Chatham-Kent. I mean, there's tons of opportunity there for recreation and tourism. I like your idea in terms of
the Great Ontario Marathon Trail.
Ontario Marathon Trail. Yeah, absolutely. We need to bring more people in. That's something that we can take advantage of. We have access year-round. We've got events that we can do in the summer, spring, fall, and winter, and that's our big opportunity. We need to take advantage of that. And for Ward 6 in particular, I think that Ward 6 is kind of interesting because there's a lot of attention that's focused on, one, the casino that's coming in,
Mm-hmm.
two, what to do with the giant property that's left open,
right?
And three, kind of related to all of that, we want to build this sports facility to kind of meet the needs that we have right now, and everybody's got a different opinion on it, but we know that somehow these things are all interconnected.
Right.
So really, I think the opportunity that's facing us right now is, what are we going to do? And right now we seem to be arguing back and forth without a clear idea of where we want to go and how those three things fit into that. So that's something that we want to get clear on here in Chatham, and that's the opportunity that we have. Take advantage of that.
Apparently a council candidate could live in any ward but runs for any Ward 1 but runs for Ward 5. Do you think we voters should be able to vote for a candidate outside our area? I live in Ward 6, but I like a candidate. Can we open that up? That's an interesting one, Sue. That's just all over the place. So, yeah, you can live in one ward and
Mm-hmm.
pretty much run in another ward.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but it would be nice, I guess. What she wants to do is, be able to vote for a bunch of different people in a bunch of different wards.
Yeah.
I think that's just nothing we can do about that, but kind of spitball the idea.
I gotta be honest, I think that I tend to, when I think of things like how election or electoral decisions would be made, I think the problem that might arise from that, so I'd want to understand it a little bit better,
Right.
but you might see the population within the center basically voting candidates that are favorable to them,
Right.
and the rural areas would suffer. I don't know if that would happen. To me, I think that might
That's
be a
a
potential
drawback,
problem
yeah.
with that. And I think that one of the most classic problems in politics is urban-rural divides.
Right.
Chatham's no stranger to that. And
We know.
I would be worried about that. So I would be worried about the population having too much influence on rural candidates
Right.
and taking over that rural vote. So
That's a good one. There you have it, Sue. But yeah, the more people watch these, the more people get to know other candidates. They like all the candidates from all the different wards. And now they're like, I want everybody, right? Because everybody has a piece to the puzzle.
Well,
hey, Karen.
Sorry, I didn't.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, on that, one of the ways that we can do it is we can get those candidates that we're in favor of talking with one another.
Right.
Right. I mean, to me, that's how we combine those two things. One, you have candidates running in a different ward that you really appreciate.
Yep.
Get the candidates in your ward involved with those candidates. See what they can do. I think that's important.
And I think the more that we open up these conversations, the more they're getting to know the candidates in the other areas, and the candidates are getting to know the needs of everybody. And on September 12th, that's kind of the goal, is to kind of bring the community together, because you're not debating your own ward. Okay, you're not even debating. You're talking about how we can take ideas to another level with 5 candidates that might not be from your ward. And I think that'd be good. What do you think of an idea like that, actually? Get your input on that.
I think. So you mean in terms of
basically what I'm doing is you got 5 candidates.
Yeah.
All right, they're all from different wards.
Yeah.
Talking about one issue, strategizing.
Yeah.
It's not a debate, although there might be some productive debate in there. But it's all about how can we take that and seeing people work with one another, strategize together.
Yeah, I think that. I think that's why we need more of the. I appreciate this opportunity because that's why we need more of this. We need more of those all candidate roundtables, like you're basically running for us.
Yeah.
I mean, this is how we put people in conversation with one another about the issues that actually affect us, instead of on a soapbox, basically trying to send their message out where someone else is sending theirs. We'll talk at cross purposes that way. We really need to facilitate this, and that's one of the ways of doing it. Sure, have a bunch of candidates sit down with a particular topic, and let's have a conversation about it.
Awesome. Great article. There are no reasons why we cannot build these universities in places like Chatham-Kent. We need to strong voice. I shared an article on Facebook from TVO, and I don't know, Derek, I can't see the article. Are you aware of an article that in regards to university campus being built soon in Mississauga? I do see a lot of people building campuses more, teaming up with the universities and the colleges. I think Fanshawe, or I don't know if it's Fanshawe, something in London which that's done like that. I don't know exactly details. How can we partner more with our universities and colleges and schools to kind of do something like that?
Yeah, I think actually, so connected to the sportsplex, that's typically the way municipalities with lots of investment from universities and colleges get that done. It's a combined effort between the two. I think that that is something that we really do need to take advantage. So we've got the Guelph satellite camp, it's a Guelph campus in Ridgetown,
right?
And we also have St. Clair College. We need to get more involved. If we need to get more involved with those organizations, if that requires us to have someone from there sit in our committees, if it requires us someone involved with the municipality trying to get involved with the boards of those colleges and universities, that's absolutely necessary. It's one way that it's not going to be easy trying to get funding for different projects from the province. Well, the province funds universities and colleges. Those universities and colleges get alumni, they make donations, and if we get a good relationship with them, they can bring some of that investment in that the municipality itself can't on its own. I think that this should have been something that we should have been talking about and seriously considering a long time ago. It's worked for a lot of municipalities. There are some downsides, so maybe getting involved in that a little bit down the road gives us a little bit of an advantage, because we get to see where other municipalities kind of
went wrong.
Yeah, they could have made a couple better decisions, but to me, I think the place we start is let's have a conversation with them. Let's see how we can get more involved in what's affecting them, and see if we can get them to invest more in the municipality, and see what they need from us in order to get that investment.
Perfect. Hey guys, get your last questions in or comments, and because we're going to be wrapping up here shortly. What do you do for fun? Like, you played hockey, you said?
I did, yeah. I've got a volleyball team starting up. We're going to be playing Thursday night, so I'm excited. I love volleyball. I like to watch Netflix. My wife and I, we've got a bunch of our shows that we watch. What's great is we haven't had this much access to beaches.
Right.
And to be able to, head out to Mitchell's Bay or head down to Erio is fantastic. So when we get a chance, that's where we go. I'm really busy. I like the work that I do. I enjoy my time at Tech Savvy, so I spend a lot of time working. So I don't have a lot of free time, but I like to get involved in team sports and take advantage of the outdoors.
Hey, Komisky, how you doing, my friend? Sue Clark, then we have a housing problem for students. For those said universities, there's a lack of affordable apartments for students, etc. Yeah, and those are, I guess that's a downside. We're trying to figure out how do you accommodate everything at one time.
Yeah, I think, again, that starts with what can we do as a municipality? What are the needs of those colleges and universities? So I know we're saying there's a housing problem. What I'd like to see is what does that actually look like? So in terms of numbers, in terms of demand versus supply, essentially. So what's available in terms of housing? If that requires us changing our bylaws. So, if the needs are basically, our bylaws are set up to hamstring the expansion of the universities and colleges, well, why don't we start there?
Yep.
But we need to have that conversation with them first to see exactly what they're seeing and what they need, to understand what they need.
Good stuff. Hey, Bill and Derek, thanks for your responses. And again, you'll be able to type some stuff in there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be taking a look.
You'll be able to look at that article maybe that you posted. We're going to be wrapping up here, but you guys if you're watching on the replay, don't be scared to comment or ask questions, share your opinions, and hit the share button if you're liking what you're hearing or you want people to know who he is. So this has been a great interview. Thanks for the great answers.
Thanks a lot, Sue.
Can you tell these people as we wrap up here, and he'll be back, don't worry, what separates you from everybody else, and why should people in Ward 6 vote for you?
I would say that what I would bring to council is a very unique perspective. So I have a pretty unique background. I've spent quite a bit of time in higher education, which has given me a particular set of skills in kind of understanding research methods, the way in which we collect the data that we use to make our decisions. I can bring that to the table, and I think really I can complement the other councillors there. So a lot of them have quite a bit of experience here in Chatham, and I think that I can help with a pretty unique perspective.
Good stuff. Okay, so he'll be able to type stuff in later, and thank you guys for watching. Thank you for coming out.
Absolutely.
And we'll definitely do this again.
Thanks for having me, Ben.
All right, have a good one, guys.